Maybe before we jump in, how many of you have a niche? Or niche? How many of you have niche? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 maybe? How many of you are app developers? I know there's 2 dropped in here. Just 2? Good. The rest of you are real professionals, right? I'm not an app developer. I'm just
actors.
We're going to start. Okay. I guess maybe we'll start. So all of you, hopefully you're in the right session. It's 15 niche apps.
What?
Niche. Any Canadians? Niche. So it's the same thing. In 15 minutes. I'm David Leary. I've been with Intuit about 21 years. I started out doing tech support for QuickBooks DOS and did 5 years of tech support for QuickBooks Windows, got into quality assurance, product development. I've pretty much done everything related to QuickBooks, but actually sell it. Like I've never been like, hey, you better sell X amount of QuickBooks and get a commission or something like that. So I've never actually sold QuickBooks, but I've been involved in almost all parts of the QuickBooks development process. Last couple of years, I've been highly involved with the developer platform, and my roles kind of changed. At first, I was really just a developer evangelist. So I was going out and finding guys at T-Sheets, and I remember Matt Whistle had 60 customers on QuickBooks using T-Sheets. Right? We started at that teeny, right? Sitting in a hotel bar and like, hey, you better go to these shows like Scaling New Heights and places like that. Kind of brought them into the family. And it's kind of evolved. I've really evolved because half my conversations are with accountants. And I went to the Cleo Law Firm conference and spoke to lawyers about accountants journey to the cloud. So I'm kind of speaking to all 3 audiences, small businesses, accountants, and developers. So I'm like, everybody forget, I'm just a small business evangelist. No more developers and stuff. You can follow me on Twitter, and then my email address is here, and I also have a slide later on, because one of the things in the exercise, I'm going to have you really commit to going niche and emailing me your thing when you fill it out at the end of this. So a couple things we're going to do, straightforward. I'm going to show you some things that scare me, and they should scare you too. We're going to talk about some things that are awesome and not so scary. We're going to really jump in on why niche. And then we're going to do the classroom exercise. I mean, ultimately my goal is all of you should have this at your desk. If you don't, please let me know and I'll get you a copy of this. I really want you guys to fill this out at the end, and this is the victory. I'll help you fill this out. And hopefully by the time I get to the classroom exercise, you'll be motivated to fill this out. I'll scare you into it, maybe. So before I jump in, so it doesn't say niche. Just let's clarify.
It does say, when you do the pronunciation.
Oh, it does out loud? Okay.
It does say niche, right?
So anyways, the next about this definition, if you really look at the ecology, it's like, what is your position and function in our ecosystem, right? And really think about that, because it's not these other places, it's your position or function. Like, how do you participate in our ecosystem? Are you the person that's going to run your Starbucks and go get the hamburger and come back because you're going to do anything anybody tells you to do? Or do you have a specific function, right? And just using Joe's example, that Starbucks example. So let's kind of jump into some things that scare me, and they should scare you too. So this is a little bit interactive. This was a point of sale blog, restaurant point of sale. This is like the app ecosystem, if you want to call this, for the restaurant landscape. Why does this scare me?
It's overwhelming.
That's a lot of stuff. Too busy. A lot of options.
Too busy. Nobody's getting it. What's missing here?
Accounting software.
Accounting software is missing.
Oh, my.
Why? Because you guys aren't part of the conversation anymore. And that is scary. A whole industry, and let's go to a different industry. Same thing's going to happen there. Accounting, the accounting system, accountants, you're just not part of the conversation. I want to start an e-commerce business. I go to 10 websites on my kitchen table, set them all up. I don't need you. You're just not part of the conversation, and this is proof of it. I mean, when there's a whole blog post with every single app to run a restaurant, and this is everything like the stuff that's going to play music in your place, the point of sale, everything's here. They don't even talk about the accounting system. You don't exist.
Financial management.
Yeah, it's kind of there, but these guys are just like back-end restaurant management stuff that tells you this, like how much each lemon cost that you bought from Cisco. Yeah. The accounting system does not exist, and that's really scary to me. Did it scare you?
Yeah.
Thanks. Why does this scare me? Okay, that's kind of small. Okay. What is this?
That is somebody's pro-advisor profile saying who all they work with.
Somebody's pro-advisor profile or 99% of the pro-advisor profiles?
Really?
Every one of you. Like every pro-advisor profile lists every single industry.
Nope.
Now, these were the top 4 hits I did for a salon person and some random zip code.
Wow.
Right? Every one of you says you do agricultural farming, nonprofit, manufacturing, salon, beauty. Every profile I open up is like this. How many of you honestly only have one thing listed?
Really?
The rest of my kids. Okay, 2. But that's the reality that's out there. That scares me. Maybe it scares you, maybe it doesn't. So, this picture, I blocked it out so you can't cheat. Hopefully you don't go to Twitter and look at the answer. But this is a show, it's called Prosper 17. 1,300 e-commerce people are there. Specifically, it was Amazon stack. So it wasn't even all e-commerce. These were just, there's 2 million Amazon sellers. This was just 1,300. Like the top 1,300. Why does this scare me? Crickets. Yeah. Here's why this scares me. 1,300 e-commerce small businesses there, 1 accountant. 1 accountant there. It was a 0 accountant. Nobody in QuickBooks. I'm walking around with a QuickBooks shirt. I could have got 300 clients that opened an account. It was ridiculous. It scares me. You guys aren't going to those conferences. You have to go to these conferences. It scares me to death that people are going in and they're going to these conferences and the QuickBooks people aren't there. This is a good one. Digest this one for a second.
Free.
Okay. So, this is bookkeeperforpainters.com. Okay. Very, very niche. But what's scary about this guy, and it's not a knock on him at all, right? 18 months ago, guess what this guy was doing? Painting houses for a decade. And now he's stealing your clients. And it's not a knock on him. Like, he might be, I know he's a pro advisor, it's not a knock on him. It's really, this is happening over and over and over again. The new competition is out there that maybe you guys aren't aware of. And it's because these guys are going niche. And they're marketing straight towards the painters and bypassing the rest of the ecosystem. Another story that's similar to this is I'm talking to Clayton Oates. Everybody knows Clayton? Right? So I'm talking to Clayton. He's at a restaurant. He sees Rebel Point of Sale at the restaurant. He's like, hey, you like Rebel Point of Sale? He's in Australia. And he's talking to the owner of the restaurant. And the owner of the restaurant said, yeah, it's awesome. I've actually installed it in 150 other restaurants and gotten paid. So your competition is completely changing. Right? That guy is now doing small business advising. He owns a restaurant, but he's installing the point of sales. And what's next? He's going to do the accounting system? Right? So that's scary. And it definitely, like, I don't think that it's not a knock on him. It's just the reality is your competition is not who it was 18 months ago.
Because he knows they're paying.
Yeah, and he only tries to do painters. One niche.
There's a lot of painters.
So this is a scary number. It's a good number. 1,500 apps plus that integrate with QuickBooks.
So you're only doing 50 today?
And I haven't done one yet, so we're really behind. So if we think about this, about 500 integrate, or are on apps.com, right? Almost 500 now. Another 1,500 integrate with QuickBooks Online. I'm safely betting there's 2,000 to 3,000 other apps that are small business related that don't integrate with QuickBooks Online yet. Because I know if I unleash all of you on these other companies and you're like, you don't integrate with QuickBooks Online yet, when's this going to happen? Eventually they'll get back to me and we'll beat them up and they'll get onto QuickBooks Online. But, so this number is scary because you can't win all the apps. It was nice when there were 60 apps on the platform or 40 apps on the platform. I knew every app, I used every app, I took every app developer to dinner. None of that's happening anymore. Nobody can learn all the apps. And that's scary. How many of you honestly have learned more than 10 apps? Okay, 3, 4, 5.
The scary part is that they're not, a lot of them aren't long-lived.
That's true.
They're short timers.
There are are short timers, and we'll touch on that a little bit actually, in a couple slides. So enough of the scary stuff. Let's get into something that's kind of awesome. So one thing is QuickBooks Online, 2.2 million subscribers, which is just really, really good. I always like to put this little dot or this arrow on this graph because that's really that quarter where Brad Smith declared QuickBooks Online is the future. That's the quarter we start charging developers to build apps. That's the time when we told developer, we opened up and made QuickBooks Online an open platform. Like that's the tipping point, right? That's when everybody changed. As soon as we were letting all developers connect to QuickBooks Online, as soon as we opened up the platform, made it easier for accountants to use QuickBooks Online, that's when everything really took off. Because you can almost see it was almost hot there at that time.
Do you know when it got to 1 million?
What?
When we got to 1 million?
Actually, I saw it on Twitter or on Facebook, the Facebook memory that came up. I want to say it was 16 months ago?
Yeah.
It was.
It was about 16, yeah.
Doubled in 16 months.
Yeah, because this is quarter by quarter, so I guess technically we could work backwards and count that out, but
There's something to say.
it's fast. And if you think about this number, right? If you look at the whole global QuickBooks, or the whole online accounting global space, it's growing at 40 to 60% a year. That means in 18 to 24 months, online accounting software globally is going to be bigger than QuickBooks Desktop ever was in its heyday. Like this is exciting. It's really, really exciting. Not scary. And this is exciting. You guys have the highest profit margin business. Like you guys are killing it.
What is that?
This should be a scary slide. And you're crushing it. Like I went to the Toledo Law Firm Conference. Lawyers are only successfully billing or collecting on 1.8 hours a day. With 1.8 hours a day. And these are like kind of forward-thinking lawyers that are using online accounting software and online software practice management. So they're somewhat efficient and they're only successfully collecting on 1.8 hours a day. So this explains why if you guys you collect better, you're more efficient, you guys have adopted technology faster. That's why you guys have leapfrogged all these other industries. Because you guys are, so this is good, right? Combine this with the growth of the industry, and it's total upside for you guys.
I like your source.
I noticed that too.
Sorry.
You can bring Ron in if we want. He's here talking, so I can use that, right? Why niche or niche? So, if you're not cloud, I'd argue you cannot go niche. Let's see if you can kill me for a living. So, really, try to be like a zip code accountant. Drive around your car, and you have a dentist, and a lawyer, and a comic book store, and it's wherever you can drive your car to. You can't go niche. But as soon as you go cloud, you can take on all the comic book stores all around the world. Nothing stops you because you're online and you don't have to drive anywhere. You're now, I know somebody came up to me earlier today, she's a salon, and she's like, I'm a virtual bookkeeper. Okay, fine, that's the term, whatever you want it to be. You're better off saying I'm a salon bookkeeper instead of just saying virtual bookkeeper because it's a little different than that. And the desktop software distribution model didn't really support this either. If you think about, for the old timers, Intuit had that app Builder Trend, not Builder Trend, Builder Master Builder. It was a Master Builder, and then we had some real estate product, and these apps cost like thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. A small business owner would have huge investment to get one of these niche apps, right?
Yeah.
And now they can get something like Builder Trend for $199 a month, and it's way better. It does so much more. It connects to QuickBooks Online. But those apps don't even connect to QuickBooks. Like, it was kind of insane, but the software distribution model of desktop software versus online software and cloud has really changed the game when it comes to all these niche apps. And in a way, it started a revolution. So, and let's take field service as an example. Like field service, I could probably list 50 apps just from field service. But there's generic field service apps that try to do everything for everybody. But what's happening is now you're seeing very specific ones that are just for the needs of septic services. It's oil pump tank service. These are Canadian guys I just talked to, right? It's very specific. When you do just a field service call for oil pumps, there's special needs, there's special parts, there's special use cases that aren't going to work for the true service guy. So, but this is all really made possible because of the cloud. The cloud's allowed this niche app revolution to happen. And that was 6 niche apps, right? So we'll mark these down. Okay, we'll get there. We'll get there, trust me. All right. So the other good thing about this, right, is you kind of, cloud enables niche enables you to really get industry knowledge and learn less apps. People are saying they're trying to learn 10. Every time I turn around, the accountant comes up to me like, there's too many apps to learn. There's too many apps to learn. My argument is learn less apps. Why don't you maybe become the tutoring CPA? You have to learn 4 apps. And then on top of that, you might learn them and you might realize, hey, this one's not the best. I'm going to put all my clients in these 2. You have to learn 2 apps. Like, learn less apps by going niche. It really enables that. But you can even go deeper. I mean, why not be the acupuncture accountant? You have to learn 1 app. 1 app.
They're really not very smart people, though.
The acupuncturist?
I've had an acupuncturist. It was the worst client I ever had. Sorry if anybody's into that.
Most times.
Could be possible. But I mean, and this has everything. The appointment scheduling, right? All the way down to these little maps of the body where they put all the needles in, like everything they need to run their collecting payments and the email marketing after the fact for the client to do a follow-up appointment. It's all in 1 app. You don't have to learn 50 apps and piece them together. You have 1 app, and this guy is going to build everything that are not going to build the things we do. He's not going to build big fees. He's not going to build profit and loss. He's just going to send the data to QuickBooks, and that's going to be the other piece of that. But the more niche you go, the easier it is. Another easy example, baking it. Baking IT, however you want to say this. Same thing. Everything you need to do a home-based wedding cake making business, everything they need, how much flour that they need to buy, the cake 3D design, everything to run that business. All the orders, the processing the payments, all that stuff all in 1 app. So you learn 1 app, and you could just be the weddingcakecpa.com or something like that. Right? It's all enabled, and you can do that. So that gives us 6 more, right? So now we're at 12 apps, I think. Right? So there's 4 tutoring apps, and then the other 2.
Okay.
All right, so that gives us 12. So we're going to hit this. So what do we have? 5, 3, 7, got it. So another thing that happens as you go niche, right? You learn less apps. Now you can start scaling your processes, right? You know how much, when you take on that next acupuncture client, what work's involved, right? You can scale your processes. If you can scale your processes and you know your cost, what can you do easily now? Fixed rate pricing. Which I don't know how any of you can do fixed rate pricing. All this stuff they teach you in all these other sessions, if you're not niche, I don't get it. Like, how can you figure out with clients across the board in different industries and figure out a flat rate for all these guys when the work involved with all these businesses is different? So a couple examples of this. So we're going back to the painting guy, right? So not only can he do flat rate pricing, he do sweet little names like primer, satin, high gloss. He can have like cool names to his flat rate pricing. But not only that, he actually brings it down even further, right? He knows, based on his experience in the painting business, if somebody's doing $200,000 to $300K a year, he pretty much knows how much work's involved on his end to handle a client of that size. He has flat rate fees for that size of client, $447 a month. Oh wait, they're doing 1.1 to 1.2 million. He knows how much work's involved in that. He can flat fee those guys. So like, he can bring his flat, because all he cares about is painters. He's not trying to solve this hard equation for every single client every single industry. The other thing that he can do, and we'll talk, it kind of leads towards more value like down the road, right? He also probably knows what it takes to get a painter from 200K and turn them into $1 million painter, right? Which is going to open up a whole set of things for him to make more money, giving that value. Another example, this is a veterinarian, equestrian. There's special veterinarians apparently just for racehorses. Yeah, and there's an app for that too. It's called Throwvet. I know that exactly. So that's another one. I can write that one down. Okay. So, but again, they know how big the packages are going to be. They understand that it's so much easier to flat rate fixed fee bill when you get into your niche. So the other thing you get to do is you start to understand the industry better. You start to have expertise in the industry. And so Chris Farman, he's in Florida. He was one of the first people I know. He really is like, I'm only doing breweries. I'm only doing breweries. I'm only doing breweries. I'm only doing breweries. Well, he started to build up really good, deep industry knowledge. And then, so yes, he knows the apps he needs to know, but also because of that, he knows the apps he needs to get clients off of. So now he can like really, as soon as he talks to a client that has like beer run, he knows, oh, they're on desktop software. He knows they're on like an app that actually is owned by another company that has nothing to do with breweries anymore. And he basically goes in and saves them, right? But it's industry knowledge. He wouldn't, like, you would not know that unless you were only specialized in breweries. Like, you would never know, like, oh, you're using the worst of the breed of the apps that you could possibly use in a brewery. So what do we got? 5 more? 5? And then I mentioned the other one. The equestrian one, all right. Okay. We'll get there, we'll get there. So then, obviously, it's easier to market to a niche. Like, all these sessions that tell you to market your practice are insane. Like, I don't know how you can even do it without marketing to a niche. So here's some examples on that. Salon and beauty. I searched within 1,000 miles. The reason why is Colleen the #1 hit out of 2,600 pro-advisors?
She's the only
The one thing. It's the only thing.
The only thing on her thing is salon beauty. That's why. So just the fact that she's rising above 2,600. She doesn't have a review, and she's rising above everybody else because she's only salon beauty on her record. And then if you look at her message, it's even it's speaking to that person. Like I'm a salon in so and so place.
What if your niche isn't on the list?
Tell Rich Priest. Tell him I want a blank line to type in your niche.
Yeah, I guess so. If you're gonna go niche.
I would argue yes.
I mean, they change the miles to 10 miles, and now we're talking niche the whole world. So
Yeah.
it's kind of contradictory.
If it was my pro-advisor site, I would not let anybody put in a zip code. I would make people type in their niche and then find you that way.
Yeah.
Because that's truly gold.
They're contradictory concepts, you
Yes.
know?
Sometimes yes. And it's evolution, I think. So, and the majority, there's a lot of people that are still doing zip code accounting. They're not going to niche. But all the smart people are going to niche, and they're stealing the clients from those other people.
But a lot of clients still want somebody local, or somebody that they feel that they can make a connection to.
So we've got
And it depends on how you, it depends on the niche, and it depends how you speak to them. So, let's compare this. E-commerce. This is an e-commerce accountant. This is the one that was at that show we talked about, the Prosper show, right? You might even know it, Scott and Patty Scharf. Maybe you guys know those two? E-commerce. This, I asked Joe Woodard, and hopefully you're not in this room, but, because this is your website. I asked Joe Woodard, Joe, who in the Woodard group is the e-commerce person I should be talking to? And he gave me like 3 people. This is the e-commerce person in the Woodard group. Does that tell me they do e-commerce? Does that tell me they do everything else? And I think e-commerce.
Is e-commerce an option?
It's not even listed.
Is it an option? Can you choose it?
This is not a pro-advisor, this is their custom website. They can do anything they want. They could actually just say, we speak e-commerce. So you're an e-commerce person. Who are you going to choose as your advisor and your accountant?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Maybe this should be on the scary thing, but this is how you have these conversations, you talk to these people. Now take it even deeper. This is dentistmetrics.com. This guy is just speaking to dentists that are going to start a dental practice. So what he's doing is he is giving them advice like, hey, you have a bunch of student loans, you should be a dentist. Here's how you handle those. Here's how you keep your dental staff busy. Like 6 tools to keep your dental staff from wasting time. Like seriously, he has a podcast. How to start a dental practice. Now at the bottom of his website, go down, you might want an accountant. By the way, I'm an accountant. He's not. There's nothing that says like, I'm a bookkeeper, I'm an accountant, nothing on this website. But you know what he's doing? He's reaching all the dentists before they even know they want an accountant. So now, when one of these times they're going to be like, I need an accountant, who are they going to go to? This guy. Right? So now maybe the pro-advisor profile doesn't even matter because they're going to search for an accountant because they already have the accountant because they got them way up here when they're starting their dental practice. But he couldn't do this at this account. If he wasn't niche, he would not be able to market his accounting practice this way. And it's funny, like at the very bottom of the page, it's like little piece of text, accountant, CPA, blah blah blah. You might like it's all it's disguise. Wouldn't it be cool to just go to a conference like the Craft Brewers Association, right? Like it would be amazing, right? And
I've been there.
you've been there.
Our firm is a member of the National Brewers.
Did you wear a QuickBooks shirt?
They wore Mueller shirts that said have an IPA with your CPA.
You could have wear a QuickBooks shirt next time. Really, walk around with a QuickBooks shirt. And then, how many clients are you going to get from doing that? Now, how many clients are you going to get if you're a speaker at this conference? There's no reason you can't speak at one of these conferences. If all you do is breweries, you can guarantee you have enough to make a talk to speak to one of these conferences. And every person in that room is going to, unless they have a brewery accountant or a brewery bookkeeper already, they're going to be like, you know so much more than my accountant does. You're just going to steal clients from people. And take this way, I'm sure there's a billion conferences to go to that are cool. I'm sure the Power Washer Association of America is an awesome conference. Right? Everybody wants to be the brewery or the winery CPA. Not everybody can do that. It's a growing niche, but you have to go deep with the other ones. But the marketing gets so easy. It's so easy to market to a niche. It's so easy. Marijuana, that is like, a lot of people are jumping on that one now too. And there's special skills, there's special software for that one. Yes. And I kind of touched on it a little bit before, but once you really market your niche, you gain more and more niche clients. You're really starting to understand the value you're creating for that client, and now you can start moving into your value billing and really your kind of unlimited revenue situations. And I don't have a true example of this because sometimes the people that are doing it, when the flat rate pricing is on their website, it's easy to see their fixed fee pricing. A lot of people they don't go out bragging like, oh, I'm taking that client for 40% and put it on their website, right? So then this stuff Joe talks about. So it's hard to have like concrete examples or screenshots of that, but there are people doing it and they're doing it really well. Okay, I'm drinking here fast. And then really it starts to push you up that ladder, right? So you have a reputation as the best, right? And it expands yourself into whole new opportunities that you could never do before when you were just a zip code bookkeeper. One of those things would be all of a sudden now niche apps are paying you to speak at conferences to their customers. This is a brewery software. They're bringing 3 basically accountants that are experts in breweries. And they're making their customers sign up at the brewery conference to sit down and talk to these guys. Well, if you have a one-on-one with a brewery, aren't you going to lock them down as a client? So the brewery is hiring you, or the app is hiring you to speak to their customers. So that's what I mean by new opportunities. You're going to get revenue, not from your client. You're going to maybe get revenue from the niche apps themselves. And not a $30 referral fee because you signed a client up. Like serious, we're going to pay you $5,000 to sit at a conference and talk to people on our behalf. Like serious revenue opportunities. You get to maybe become on the board of an app, right? You join the board. Maybe you're a strategic advisor. Maybe you get some equity in that, right? You help the app go public. You get VC money. Like this whole different level of the game, right? Versus just doing the bookkeeping. But you can't just jump up to here without really going to a niche first, getting industry depth, and going up the ladder that way. Maybe you really understand one problem really well and you build an app. Chargeify is really a lot of subscription-based billing, recurring billing. Here's a CPA. Like, you can build an app. I mean, that's an option you have. I think that was at 18, I think we hit. It was or 19, sorry. I said one on accident. So, I mean, ultimately, you're going like Walter Wright, like higher level here. Like once you get to the top of this, right? Like there's no stopping you. It's unlimited, and you really go from just being like I'm a bookkeeper to an industry player, and whatever industry niche you want to be in. Like you get to be the player in that industry. You get to be the Walter White of power window washers. Whatever, my carpet cleaners, whatever it is, like you could be that all-star, right? Wouldn't it be nice if you could be the Joe Woodard of some industry? No? No? No. And so ultimately, kind of in summary, right? Cloud enables niche, but niche enables everything else. Like each one enables the next. And if you think about it, every conference I've been to for the last 3 years has been trying to teach you all this stuff. Do fixed rate pricing, market yourself better, use social media better, all this stuff. But unless you're niche, it's useless. I mean, who wants to read a random post from a CPA on Instagram that's like, save money on taxes this year? But you can do a cool Instagram post strictly for breweries and be part of that conversation. Like it's really, but niche enables all of this for sure. And so I will actually get my deck out so you guys can have these slides too. I'll let photos. We'll pause for photos. Yes. You guys can tweet this out a little bit.
Okay.
So I want to jump into the classroom exercise. But if you notice, I'm only at 18 apps, not 50. I can easily rattle off 200 apps. I'm not kidding. No, you can just play this game. Ask me a question, I'll rattle off an app. So right now we're at 19. You guys are the bookkeepers, do the math. 19. All right, we're gonna hit 50, but it's gonna be a classroom exercise, right? And we're gonna hit it. I think I counted it. There's 42 of you in here. If each one of you do one, we're gonna bust through this 50 apps. Okay, it's gonna be. But I'm not helping. I'm really gonna help you guys do this. So all you have your paper here, right? Your niche declaration. The first line's easy, right? Enter your name, right? And then I always use accountant, bookkeeper, advisor interchangeably. I'm being okay with it. I think the one people that aren't okay with it is for the CPAs. They don't like it if you maybe don't say CPA. So put in whatever you want there. I made a multiple choice. I didn't want to commit anybody to a title they don't really want. And create a new one. Create a new title. And then after that, we'll start jumping in we'll pick a niche. I'll help you pick a niche. So if everybody has their name, we can pause. When you think about your niche, right? Think about maybe clients that you love. Think about an industry you love. Think about maybe something you grew up doing. Maybe you worked in a hair salon for a decade, right? You already know that space. Then think about something you know or love or want to get into, or maybe it's just a niche you're like, those guys got a lot of money. I want to go into that niche, right? Think about that when you pick a niche. For those of you who don't have a niche, there's things you can do. And I'll get you guys all these, but you can use all the NICS codes, right, that are out there. And this is ridiculous. The PDF, where's it at?
It's too much information there. The NISD, you could go crazy.
Yeah, exactly. I think it was like a 700-page book. It was completely ridiculous. But you can deep dive by zip code. You can deep dive by it's a lot of information. But remember in QuickBooks Online when you set up a company and you can choose, that's those codes. And so we're never going to say exactly how many lawn mowing businesses are on QuickBooks Online. We're never going to tell you that. But I can tell you, if you can get the numbers for any small business data, because QuickBooks is always 90% market share, pretty much if there's 34.4 dentists in the country, percent-wise, that's how many QuickBooks users are dentists, right? No, it's not 34%, but whatever the numbers are in small business administration type stats, we kind of map into that. So the niches are deep, the niches are big. And yes, you're right. If you start digging in these, it's kind of crazy. This one is actually some Creative Commons book I stumbled upon. That was, they just had this little pie graph with 20 of them. So it makes it a little bit more digestible. Yes?
I have a question. Are your slides on the, because I don't see it on the app.
I will get them out there.
You all just finished this before you got there.
Don't tell Steve Biggs that I just finished them. So I will get those available though. Yeah, I will get these out there. All the slides. So who has not picked a niche? Anybody have a niche they want to share that they wrote down yet? Oh, you have a big one. What's your background? What do you do?
I'm a
You hate tax season, so more reason to do a niche. You can get out of that tax business.
I'm out.
Do you have any clients you're like working with, or what hobbies do you have? Specifically, what do you have?
Well, kind of going in the direction of the veterinarian, we have a farm.
Okay.
And I'm kind of thinking about that.
And most of the veterinarians with farms, they have to be mobile, is that correct? Like they can't,
Yeah.
people aren't driving cows into the place, the veterinarians drive out, so it's really mobile,
Large
which,
animal.
large animal vets. So that could be a niche, right? Large animal vets, you can take those on, but they have to be mobile, they have to be cloud. It's a good fit, it's a good niche. You can do that, and we can help you find apps to do that. Maybe you want to share something they're doing? Yes.
So I have a number of e-commerce clients, and since we've already talked about it a couple times, I'd love to kind of throw it out there. My biggest issue right now is that I'm having a really hard time finding an app that actually handles the accounting side well. You know, they all handle the sales side really well, and they update inventory across all different channels that they're selling on, but then pulling that information off, capturing sales tax, and most importantly, cost of goods sold, like.
And then reconciling to what's actually deposited in the bank account.
Yeah.
And there's some e-commerce apps that are starting to attack that. A2X, which is strictly for Amazon,
Wait,
right?
say it again.
A2X,
A2X.
and they're on apps.com. I'm gonna mark that so we have it. They actually, he's attacking it from the other direction. He came in from the accounting side, and he's attacking, because Amazon sales and the deposit in the bank account are just a nightmare.
Right.
And he's attacking it from the bank reconciliation this direction, not the e-commerce download this direction in the accounting system. So some apps are starting to do that, but a lot of apps don't know to do this. Why? Apps ask me, who's an e-commerce person that knows QuickBooks? I don't know, because we don't have anybody specializing in it. So if you specialize in it, you're going to build relationships with these app developers. They're going to understand the use case better. They're going to make it better.
Okay.
It's an ecosystem, right? It's helping each other for sure.
But does anyone in here have an e-commerce app that they really like? Like who's?
There's not one app. That's the problem with the e-commerce apps. I went to that conference, 60 apps were on the show floor. And that was just Amazon stuff. Yeah, so anybody who says they do e-commerce and other stuff, I giggle. You have to only do e-commerce. It is a mess. And it changes like every week. But e-commerce is crazy. It's definitely an issue. Yeah, am I sure?
I like inventory. I come from the stage world, so
Okay.
it's very much into wholesale distribution, but I don't really like that section of it. But I have a few property management people where they need to capture the costs and stuff and fixing things up, and then if they have things in inventory, so it sort of gives me a little bit of my inventory background type of thing, but more like a property management, real estate.
And there's property management apps for maybe people that just own like homes and rent those out. And then there's property management apps I've seen that are really for bigger apartment complexes and condo associations.
I like that better only because I think that's more of a niche, you know.
And they probably have a little more money, there's more revenue going through
Yeah,
there.
because, and then there's like rent control, you know what I mean, so then they need rent rolls, and then so like it's capturing sort of like that job cost inventory type of.
I think it's a very good one. I think it's a very good one. It's a beast.
So then how do you, but what is that niche called? Like, what do I call it? Is it property management? Is it like, I don't have a name for it, I don't have a section for it, I don't know what to call
A
it.
few years ago I met a guy, and he literally, his website name was Condo Association CPA. Right? So I think you don't have to come figure out the exact name right today, but I think, yeah, it's like you sleep on that, you're onto something. You just gotta feel it out, like what's the right way to present that, right? Like who am I? Am I a
And then
manager
what I
of
do,
keepers?
so I would go to, so then let's say, what happens if you pick a niche, and then a year from now, let's say, you realize either it's not something that you even wanted to do, or there isn't enough business out there, or whatever. So then you go start on a new one, meanwhile you've like sort of wasted a year, I shouldn't say wasted a year, but you know what I mean? Like, how do you know that this is what you?
All the customers you have, I mean, that's the hard part.
I'm not, I don't have enough customers that are property management, whatever, to say, oh,
You're gonna just jump
I
out.
really like this. I'm just like thinking that because of my background, this is sort of encompasses, you know, things that I know and I'm comfortable with.
And that's something, maybe, that's that leap of faith, I guess, right? I guarantee you there's enough buildings with renters, right,
You would
in
think
this
so.
country that you can take on as clients. But you're right, there's probably a leap of faith. And then maybe at the end we can talk about maybe this hypothetical, which is like, so what if you get bored of that niche? What do you do? Right? That's like, maybe at the end of the thing we could throw that kind of as a little parking lot that and talk about possibly like, what do you do after maybe you don't like the niche? Find out all lawyers are jerks and I'm one of the lawyers, who knows, right? Yeah, sure.
What about an app for kennels or dogs?
10-minute warning. Okay, we gotta plow up here. Okay, we're exercising. Kennels and dog sittings. So that's what we're going through next, right? So I'm going to use, right, these different apps. So this is where hopefully your phone, your computer, etc. One way to find apps is to use apps.com, right? You can search on there, but the thing is on here, we only have 450. There's a whole universe out there, right? Another way, I must have like a weird broken animation, sorry about that. It's like use Google. And this takes a little bit of a technique and skill because there's a lot of mess that comes up in these search results. But you can start searching for SaaS software for, and then play with the dog kennels, right? Start playing with the quotes, boarding. Like start playing with some of these words like that, and then put QuickBooks in there, right? To try to find one that works with QuickBooks. Try to use the word SaaS sometimes in these searches.
What is SaaS?
SaaS is software as a service. So you use Netflix, software as a service. Evernote, software as a service. QuickBooks Online, software as a service. All these niche apps, software as a service. I mean, there's other apps that are desktop, floppy disk based, but you kind of don't want those ones at this point in the game, right? Because you're not going to, if your client's 800 miles away, you're not going to go install them on hard drive. So you want to stay with SaaS software for sure. There's probably dog kennel boarding software out there. Hopefully you can find it, search for it, and we can put a little hash mark up here to hit this 10-minute warning. My goodness. So did anybody write down an app or you know of an app you're going to use? Yeah.
I do business analytics, and the app that I'm going to use is Power BI.
Power BI. Yes. Power BI.
Does a very good job.
And Power BI is a little custom dashboards, right? Analytics, not really niche. We're just starting to see in some of these niche apps, like the restaurant backend ones. They're building dashboards just for the stuff restaurants need to know about. It is very interesting.
I know the niche is really trying to use that type of software, but for a specific industry.
Yeah, it can be, yeah. Because I think once you customize that, you can apply it to the next client like that and the next client like that.
Yeah, they're all different, believe me.
Anybody else have a niche? Oh, yes.
So I talked to you yesterday
Yeah.
about Dance Studios. I found one that's Dance Studio Pro.
Yes. That's the one.
It says it syncs to QuickBooks, but I think it's probably
Yeah, we'll have to track them down, whether or not it's synced to QuickBooks. Beat them up. If you find an app and you don't know if it integrates with QuickBooks, use their little chat thing in the corner of their websites usually. Send them an email. I like it when our co-advisors and everybody tweets at them. And it puts me in the tweet. You just like, you find a Twitter thing, you tweet at them, you put me in the tweet, and then I'll just pile on. I'm like, yeah, I have hundreds of accountants that want to know if you integrate with QuickBooks. And it creates the pressure. It starts to get them. Plus, it vets out the apps. If you go to their website and you ask if you work with QuickBooks in that little chat box, and they don't reply to you, or if you tweet at them, they don't reply to the tweet, they're going to have crappy customer service. Move on to the next app. So it's a way for you to kind of vet these apps out. You can ask easy questions like that. But that was the one yesterday I couldn't find, but I came across it, yes, Dance Studio Pro. And I think it's one of these hits actually brings that one up, yeah. So there's software just for dance studios, and that's your niche, right? Dance studios, right? And there's software for karate dojos if you want to be the karate dojo CPA. So we got Dance Studio Pro. All right, we'll hammer that one out. I think we're down to 5 minutes. Just tight. 6:03, 7 minutes. All right, and then you want to definitely declare like how you want to help your clients grow, what kind of clients they are, but really how you're going to get more niche clients, right? And this can be easy, like update my pro advisor site profile, right? That could be an easy one. I'm going to go to some conference. I'm going to start writing blog posts about that niche, whatever it might be. If you really want a lot, this part here, this is Mike McCallow's specialty. Have profit first, but this is his baby right key is nailing people, helping them do this here. So the secret is to do this, you have to put a niche, right? But the apps go hand in hand. Because the market of it's fine, but if you don't start scaling, using the right niche apps and combining that with your first online, you can do all that marketing Mike wants you to do. Mike wants you to go to the Power Window Washers Association meeting. Well, that's, if you don't have a way to take on all those clients and set them up correctly, you're going to lose those clients because they're going to have a bad experience. Way in the back.
What about apps for taking investment information and translating unrealized gain or loss, fees, that kind of thing from PBO?
When you say investment, and like they have personal portfolio management type stuff?
Family offices, yeah, that might have several hundred Merrill Lynch accounts.
I've got a software, I'm working with the developer, Artifacts.
There we go. Another niche. What's it called?
Artifacts. Artifex. They are phenomenal.
That's a map.
Phenomenal. They did a webinar with us with QBHQ.
Cool. Alright, so they exist.
They're in Montreal.
Does anybody have like, a way they would market to a niche client?
What's that?
Maybe dance studios. How would you market to them?
Well, I think you know a lot of them. You have to get to know their world, so attending their, their conferences, their publications, their forums.
I would, one more, it would be, this because my kids danced in competitive dance, is they have it, and they're ridiculous, you spend so much money on it, but they have those dance competitions, and these dance competitions travel city to city to city. You want to get involved with the people that run those because those people talk to all the dance studio owners, right? Like, however you can get in with, now those people are greedy, so they're going to charge you, but to even have a conversation. But if you can get in with those people, because they only speak to dance studio owners, right? And if you can speak, like, that's a way to get in the door to those people. There's lots of ways to, each industry has one special way. I know House Call Pro, which is an app on apps.com, they really specialize in carpet cleaners. And what they've done is all the chemical guys that sell chemicals to carpet cleaners, they got all those guys and their family selling House Call Pro for them. So, you know, whatever niche you're in, you can start figuring out an angle to get more customers. There's always a way.
And this works, I mean, the remote works. And what I'm trying to say is people aren't looking for somebody in the carpet cleaning business with, in their area. They're really open to wherever you are. Is that true?
It's starting, and more and more, because it's the conversation, right? I think that dentist website's a good example of that. He's talking to those people who really even think they want an accountant. And why would they even search for an accountant if they're already eating this guy's content, right? They already know this guy exists.
When you go to these conferences, if you get a couple clients that you set up, believe me, when they go to the conference with all their friends, they're always asking, well, what are you using? Who are you using?
Yeah.
And I have clients from the Bahamas because someone refers.
Really? But did you have to travel a lot in the beginning when you didn't?
Because once they see the remote and how you can do things remotely.
Yeah, but you have to go to conferences all over.
Well, I'm saying if you have clients that go to those conferences, then they talk about you because they have pain points in accounting. And this is what software I'm using. I can go look at my numbers right now.
Really? And what are you, dancing? No, you were what? What niche?
Well, I was quick with point of sale.
Oh, okay. Good.
Yeah.
I got a niche kind of by accident. I had 3 or 4 clients that had U.S. sales companies of European parent, European owner.
Okay.
And, with the online world, our QBO and Bill.com work wonders because everybody's remote and traveling salespeople.
And that's an niche in its own because now you have to understand exchange rates and just.
Well, no, I'm doing the accounting for the U.S. company.
To the U.S. company, okay, got it. But the parent company's up in Europe. It's interesting, yeah. Fall in it because then you're getting a reputation for this, right? What's going to happen is somebody else in this room is going to kick that person this way because they're like, I don't want to deal with this, but I know a pro advisor that does. And you're going to get a dance studio, like, I don't do dance studios, but you're going to know somebody who does. And you guys are all going to start kicking clients around.
I'll tell you, funny, real quick though, but years ago, when I was just getting started. I had one architecture firm, and I got invited to speak at this little meeting of some architecture people it was Dallas. And I picked up a client there just because I was introducing QuickBooks at this architecture firm, and this wasn't even online, this was desktop.
Yeah.
But because they identified me with architecture, I still have that client.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just crazy.
And you can use that strategy.
And I don't have any architects anymore except him.
And that same strategy that worked to get an architect by doing a little talk in your town,
Yeah.
you can actually now just take that to cloud and you can get architects everywhere. You can have that same conversation. You do webinars for architects
Yeah.
and have people from all over the world. Right? And this is it's easier valuable, with all these. Now you pick and choose you don't have to take. You don't have to be desperate. Just take the architecture firm that's in your. You can be like, that one's really nice and they're easy to work with. Oh, okay, they're 5 states away. I don't care.
Yeah.
Right? You can really pick and choose your clients. And I have a prediction for this whole thing where this is going. Right? The accountants are going niche, are scaling their practices so fast. You're able to take on more clients. And my theory is the accountants that go niche and go fully cloud are going to steal all the A, B, and C clients away from all the rest of the pro advisors. So when it's all said and done, 20 or 30,000 pro advisors are going to have 70% of the clients. And the other 140,000 pro advisors are going to be fighting over the scraps because of the scale. You take on way more clients.
Okay, just in defense of the non-niche people, at the end of the day, we're in a service business, and there's a certain amount of, I want to know my accountant, I want to have a trusted relationship with that person. You cannot always replace that with a cloud marketing strategy.
Why? If you're in the cloud, why can't you have a relationship? You can use Zoom, you can
I'm
video
not saying
conference.
you're wrong, I'm just saying that it's not the death of the pro advisor.
No,
I think that there's still,
yes, you can keep your clients, right?
yeah.
But clients are being stolen away, and people don't even know it. Like, that's what's happening with the niche guys.
Yeah, but if you're picking a niche, you're not the only one that has that niche.
Right.
You do have
That's true.
competition of other people that are picking the niche.
That's true.
So then, how do you differentiate that if you're saying that you can go global niche or whatever?
I don't think that problem exists yet today, I'll tell you right now. I don't think it exists today. This is why I go to an e-commerce show with 1,300 small businesses and there's one accountant there. When there's 50 accountants there, now that's a big problem. This problem doesn't happen right now. The people that do it first are going to win.
So how do you get that, let's say that ad? Because you need to become that real expert, especially if you didn't have the clients before and you're picking this thing. What's the steps to do it? So you pick an app and then study that.
Or you learn the
industry.
industry.
So how do you learn the industry? Where I go,
Yeah, you go to the trade shows, you find the app, there's probably different directions you can come into this, right? You could be like, that app's awesome, I just like it. Oh, that app, you could go that way. You could be like, I have a lot of clients that are daycare centers. You can come into it that way. I think you would have to only go 1 degree from where you are. If your roots are in property management and you know that space, you're probably already more of an expert than most people in that space. And kind of trust that instinct and then run from there. But that's how you do it. Build on that.
property management that not just collects rent and stuff, or do you, like, if the niche then gets these, like, micro niche type of, if property management that is also fixing the apartments, renting the apartments, or is it just anybody who's doing property management?
I think there could be just commercial property management. Like, you could just take on those things. I think that's gonna be, you have to feel that stuff out, but things are very niche. I mean, there's software for pet sitting businesses. Like, you could just take on, like, Power Pet Sitter, I mean, there's set from pet groomers, mobile pet groomers. Like, it goes deep. It goes really deep. There's what's that book, Blue Ocean Strategy? Is that what it is? Like, you don't want to be in the blue ocean, right? Or vice versa.
The whitewater.
Yeah, whatever the analogy is, you want to be in the one where nobody's fighting. You keep going to that deeper niche until you don't have competition because you're the only one in that niche. Yes?
2 things. One, there's a website called capterra.com.
Yes.
Which lets you find all kinds of, you just type in the niche, it's like Capterra, CAPTERRA.
The only problem with Capterra, I'll just give you one on Capterra. Capterra plays developers against each other to outbid. So the app that's listed #1 on Capterra he may not really be number one in anything. It's the guy who's paying to be number one that week. So that's the only one about Craftera.
Is it like?
But they do give you apparently the product reviews.
Yeah, there are reviews on there. It's a way to find things. It's definitely a way to find things. I would just be careful, but they do have some comments.
But the other comment I wanted to make was, yes, by defining a niche, you're still competing against people, but given that we're 200,000 pro advisors, you take yourself from competing against 200,000 generalists to maybe 100 specific in the industry.
And I'll be honest, the Scott and Patty Sharp, Scott and Patty, e-commerce. You know why I asked Joe for an e-commerce person? Because they wanted to know who they could refer people to that still want to use QuickBooks and don't want to move to Zero. So they're in the niche and they're willing to give, like, they have too many clients. There's not many clients. There's too many clients. Right. They can't service that much demand. So we didn't hit the 50 because I think we're out of time in the exercise, but if you want, I'll be in the Pro Advisor Live all day tomorrow. I've definitely hit 300 apps this week already with conversations individually with people. So thank you very, very much. And I'll be around.
I'm taking it next week. So this was the girls.
Dawn. Yeah, so I know Dawn didn't talk about Amazon. So that's the thing, right? Yes, we're starting to
Isn't that crazy?
several.
Yeah, I just feel like there's so many specifics where like think about all the specific things we need to know about minorities and all the specific things we need to know about children and nature. It's like
So I think it's still a very there's still a very different way of and managing that relationship too, right? Yeah, exactly.